way the Golden State runs their offense. I'm sure you switch to the night we on the same page, so where they run all ball screens and things of that nature.
I mean, I think it's it's loud. I think it's the communication before the switch, the vision before the switch, if you have to switch. You know, we've watched so many clips and played them so many times. Like, there's going to be mistakes made, and sometimes the backside of your defense can help you with that, but they're probably the best at it as far as taking advantage of what you do. You know, if you say something, they know what to do if just based on what you're calling, that kind of thing. So it's just a tough cover for everybody in the league. I mean, they get a number of opportunities in the paint, then you go to help, then they get threes off of it because they just do a number of things to counter your defense. So I think the communication piece, along with whatever coverage you're in, can help you. And then they just have guys that move all day long. They just don't stop moving. So it's a challenge for everybody.
And I just had a follow-up with Payne in terms of what he did last game, what he's done so far. Is this what you were expecting before the season? You were like, think you want to come in with a different mindset?
Yeah, I think Cam has the ability to affect the game without scoring, but we know he can. His injection of speed on both ends just helps us play at a different pace. And, you know, him understanding when to go and when to pull up, that's something you don't want to hamstring anybody in that box. But I think the other day you saw, like, when he had opportunities to get to the paint, it was really good for us. He had a couple of finishes that he wished he would have converted, but I love, as they say, the attack mode mentality that he had, and that's what he brings to the team. And then defensively, he was a pest. I mean, he just stayed in front of the ball. He was, you know, everybody was pretty much agitating the ball, but he can do a job that no one else can do, because he can get down the floor and guard 90 feet at times. And, you know, hopefully we can progress towards that.
With Chris in this current role, it gives him a lot more opportunities to operate in 25 on the backside.
Yeah.
How evaluate the spot?
We just think Chris is turning down too many shots. You know, that's, everybody's on Chris about shooting. He's probably sick of everybody telling them, but we just want him to, you know, quickly shoot it. He thinks, you know, the right play is getting somebody else a shot in a catch shot, you know, role, because we have good catch shooters. But getting him off the ball is something that he's wanted for a couple of years now. We've put a lot of pressure on Chris to have the ball for most of the possession. We're trying to grow where he's off the ball so he can play in and go catch environments. But the first thing is just take the shot, you know, because he's such a good shooter. I mean, I watch him every day. He just lights out when they do their 3-point shooting drills and games. He's really good.
Because of being a point guard, he doesn't get as many catch and shoot opportunities, but in this role where he's always been an awesome catch and 3-point, he's going to get more of those looks.
We hope. I mean, a lot of it is theory right now. We don't have enough examples to, you know, make the case that it's real, but we hope he can when we have other guys that can facilitate and get us into offense in a timely fashion. That's the other side of the coin. You know, we can talk about other guys facilitating, but can we get it down the floor in a timely fashion with pressure, and then get it where we need to get the ball? Then, you know, find Chris and Book on the backside. Like, that's a lot easier said than done.
Coach, when you play a team like the Warriors and their pace and movement, is there a temptation for guys who just want to get out and run against them and you say, let's just make this a track meet?
I mean, I'm sure it is, but not many teams can. Sac did a good job the other night it was a 4-point game with a minute to go, and they got down pretty good, and then they kept running. I'm not quite sure everybody can do that against Golden State because they're the one team that's done it in every part of the season. They've been able to do it in regular season, they do it in the playoffs, and they've done it late in the playoffs when you think everything's going to slow down. They play the same way. So we feel like we can play that way, but we probably are not as fast as they are.
Let's say the night you guys generated 42 threes. Is there anything different about the way that you were getting those shots? I know you've always said we're not just going to shoot threes to shoot threes, but how important is that to be able to get up a certain number?
The paint to great mentality was certainly in play. Cam and Chris and Book were getting to the paint a ton and finding guys. And the Clippers were switching, and we were trying to attack those switches, and sometimes that can draw help. And all of our guys are willing passers, so maybe that was it. Again, it was an isolated incident. I don't suspect we'll shoot 40 a night just because of Chris, Book, and DA and Mikal, tend to get to that mid-range spot, and they shoot a good percentage from there. But as long as we're getting them in our offense and the quality is there, I think everybody is pretty happy with that.
Facing his former team where he spent 4 years tonight, for you as a player, is there anything different about when you would face a former team for the first time?
Shucks, man, I played for so many teams. I don't think I can go back in my head and think about all the times I had to go against a different team. I've been in the league almost 30 years now, so I faced a lot of the teams I've worked for. So I don't know what that's like. I think he's done it. This is his first time, so I can't even answer that. I was mad at a lot of teams.
How much?
Tweet that.
How much defense stands going up against one of the best teams, offensive teams in the league? I know it's how much do you look at that just in terms of?
I just don't think you can do all that stuff, man. You guys ask me stuff like that all the time after like 2 or 3 games, and I just don't think you can do it. I think there's a number of games that you have to play. At the same time, your point is well taken because they're the champs. It does bring a different level of intensity to the game. But I mean, if you look at our season so far, we've played the best of the best already, and so I think that in itself can be a bit of a sample size, but just the respect that we have for them, what they've done, that's enough. I mean, forget that we've only played 3 or 4 games. The fact that we're going against Golden State, that's enough to, nobody will admit it, but yeah, you always measure yourself against the champs. You can't take that away from them. So I guess in some ways, internally, you probably, even if you didn't want to admit it, you probably think that to yourself. Maybe you write it down in your office or something like that. It's just the way it is.
With some of the things we were talking about, is there a point in the season that you've thought of like, okay, now I can start thinking about progress, or we've accomplished, or this is going well, or this isn't going well? 20, 30, and you do that type of thing with the games?
We do. I mean, we every 10 games, we have a report and we look at it. It's a ton of information. We share what we think is relevant to the players. We digest a bunch of it. We digest a lot during that 10-game session, but for us, it's like 10-game reports are really important, but we try to get to at least 20 games before we start making those assessments about where we are, because that gives you somewhat of a sample size of the season. 20 games, you still haven't played everybody. And sometimes if you play the teams, a couple of times, you've only gone through like, maybe half the league. So it can be tough. But yeah, we'd like to start making that assessment around 20 games to kind of see where we're trending anyway. And then it may take a few, we don't have the theory on it for sure, but that's when we start to look at it. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Yep.